Yeah, I need someone's help here. I'm starting to have issues with this 1989 560 SEC starting issues and keeping it running. So I had to use starter fluid right here into the intake, the air intake, in order to get it to run and stay running. When I'm hitting the accelerator, I'm not getting any fuel up to the front. I mean, I'm wondering, like, okay, is this fuel injection? Is it not fuel injection? Pumping the gas, will that, help? And so I was going through that, and eventually it got to a point where I couldn't get any, it wouldn't start. And so I started spraying starter fluid in there, and it would start, and then of course it would die. Then I had someone start it while I was spraying a couple bursts every couple seconds, and it kept running. And I did it long enough where it continued to run. So my thought process then was that maybe getting that fuel started or getting that compression, getting it to run, maybe continue to suck up that fuel from the fuel lines, from the fuel pump, and it kept running. But once it's running, if I turn on the headlights or if I turn on the climate control or anything that draws a lot of current, then the car immediately shuts off. Those problems have to be interrelated because it started to occur at the same time. It sounds like there's an electrical issue of some sort. Like, I'm thinking it's the alternator, but a failed alternator would not prevent the fuel injectors or the fuel pump from turning on. So I think it's something related to the fuel pump, the electronics of some sort that's not telling the fuel pump to maybe turn on. And also it's preventing the charging system from operating properly. I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know. Again, I'm having a hard time getting it to start due to a lack of fuel. And once it starts, it dies quickly if I turn on headlights, climate control, or anything that draws a lot of current. If you have any idea, let me know. So I got it to start again with this right here, the starting fluid. By spraying it in there, I got it to run. But it's like struggling to run. And it sounds like it's fuel related. I mean, it seems like it's fuel related because it only starts if I feed it starting fluid. It'll run, and then it'll eventually die out. So it definitely sounds fuel related, but let me ask you this. Can a bad fuel pump will cause a engine to die out if it has an electrical draw, like from headlights or something of that nature? You see that? It was about to stall out. Help me out. We also see here that the alternator is working. The voltage is now at 1379. When the car was turned off, the voltage was a little bit over 12, maybe 12.49. So the alternator is charging. You hear that? See that? See that? So if the engine is barely running, if there's not enough suction or fuel pumping or whatever the case, if there's not enough fuel reaching the fuel injectors, will that cause any excessive draws to the engine to stall out? Because I guess when you turn on electronics, does the alternator have to work harder? Does it then require the engine to rev up a little higher to compensate? I don't know. Let me know something. The car runs once you spray it with starter fluid. It doesn't run strong, but it runs. I mean, it runs for a while before it decides to die until I spray it with more of this. Is it only a fuel issue? Is it a fuel pump issue? Let me know something. I'm losing my mind over here. This thing drove perfect. I parked it in the garage. I started working on swapping the radio out. I had the car, I didn't have the ignition started, but I had the accessories on for quite a while, maybe a couple hours, maybe 6-7 hours. And now I'm having this issue. And there it is. The engine just died. The voltage is dropping down. So let's assume that the alternator is good. I'm out of starting fluid, so I couldn't keep it running. You guys, let me know what you think it is. It definitely seems fuel related. Like I said, I was changing out my radio and playing around with the wires, speakers, and this, that, and the other. And I had the key turned on without the engine started. Let's just say for about 6 hours, at least, maybe 7, 8, I don't know. Would that have anything to do with the fuel pump failing? Okay, everyone, so just to summarize my struggles today. Over the last few days, I have been messing with the audio system. I swapped out the radio and put an aftermarket radio in there. I spent time, researching, figuring out what wires are what's positive, what's negative, and whatever. I don't think any of those wires in the dash have anything to do with fuel pump or the car not starting, but I'm giving you all the information so that you guys can help me out to figure this out, So I had the accessories on. Probably 6 to 8 hours, maybe more, because this is over a 2-day period while I'm just figuring out wires and this, that, and the other, and running wires and testing speakers and all that kind of stuff. So I had the accessories on. And then if this is a fuel injected vehicle, you guys need to confirm with me if it is or not, because I'm still learning about this car. When did they introduce fuel injection to the SEC model? So if it is fuel injection, when you turn the key with the accessories on, it should activate the fuel pump, I'm assuming. So if that's the case, again, I had it turn on and off several times over the last 2 days, but never really starting the car. And it led to, I don't know if that's related, but today when I tried to start it, it wouldn't start. I got it to start a few times, but it was struggling while it was running. And then eventually if I turn the headlights on, it died out. Couldn't figure this one out. Turn the headlights on, it died out immediately. Immediately. So that's what I had been dealing with. Trying to figure out why it won't start, and then realizing using starter fluid that when you put starter fluid into the intake, it runs. So that means it's fuel related. Couldn't make the connection between the current draw and it dying. I thought that there might be a short, something not grounded or whatever. I thought it was just the headlights. But when I hit the climate control, it did the same thing. It turned off. So any kind of current draw shuts the engine off. I'm thinking that if an engine is not running properly, that whenever electronics come on, the engine does have to work a little harder to maintain, right? It has to power that alternator and the other things, whatever. Any electronics, the alternator feeds electricity to, but the engine, I think, has to compensate by working a little bit harder. And if the engine already is compromised because it's not running properly because of fuel, in this case, then I guess that's what will cause it to shut off. That's my thinking. I don't know. I'm new to this whole old school thing, but you got to kind of have some basic, automotive knowledge when it comes to what makes the engine run, what prevents the engine from running. Air, fuel, ignition source, or ignition. So these are all things that I have to keep in mind while trying to diagnose and figure out what's going on here. Please give me some suggestions. Anyone who has a old school Benz and has had an issue similar to mine, let me know. If it is just a fuel pump, cool. If it's the fuel pump relay, let me know how to jump that, bypass it or whatever, and send 12 volts or whatever to the fuel pump and see if it kicks on then. Then I know it's just a relay. But I don't know what it is, okay? I need you guys' help. Please help me, because I don't know. I just don't know. I really like this car. I I mean, I pulled out. I'll do a video on that later on as to what I'm doing with the audio system. But as of right now, let's just focus on this issue. I need my car to run. You know what I'm saying? I need my car to run. Let me know. Help me out. Please. Thank you.